Hi, everyone. I am Violette Ayala, the founder of FemCity, and I am so excited for today. My guest and I were in the green room, and I was going to give her a batch of love. And I thought, let me just wait until we record because I want everyone to hear the love that I have for this woman. Um, Fisayo Che, she's a dedicated mother of three. She's a visionary founder behind Elisamama, an apparel brand catering to women and children. Fisayo established the brand in 2020, motivated by the passion to craft a different version of my Nigerian story. She launched the brand, keenly driven by the desire to bring jobs to Nigeria in a way that uplifts, empowers, and improves the quality of life. I mean, this is like the most FemCity story ever. With her work at Elisamama, Fisayo also aspires to contribute to a new narrative, one where Nigeria shines as a global fashion leader. In just a few short years, Elisamama has already left an indelible mark with presence at luxury retailers and specialty stores across the U.S. The brand is going on its 13th season at Saks Fifth Avenue and was recently selected as part of the 2023 Saks New Wave program for promising emerging brands. Elisamama's garments are also stocked at Shopbop, Tuckernut, Maisonette. I think I said that with my as much as I can French accent, and about 20 specialty boutiques across the US. She is like just light and love for those listeners that can't see the visual on it. She is absolutely just love and radiates just so much beauty. Fisayo, I'm so happy you're here. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you, Violet. I'm so glad to be here. I'm honored. Thank you for finding Elisamama and myself worthy of being in your guest chair today. So thank
Oh
you.
my
Thank you.
gosh. You are so I was telling Sayo in the green room, I was gonna share some love. So my daughter's graduated from high school and I was looking for a graduation dress. And I went over to the Saks Avenue website because I follow her on Instagram also. And I was looking and your clothing, your designs emit joy. It is like there's a feminine flair to it also. There's a romantic side of it. There is it's so unique, but it's vibrant. It's soulful. I guess that's also the word. It's a very soulful brand.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited that I found you through my best friend from childhood from Jenny's Instagram. So excited.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we definitely design with, joy is one of our key tenets. We want you to feel good, feel happy when you wear our garments. I'm glad that, that came across for you when you saw our product. So, yay.
yeah. Oh, yay. All right. So let's talk about Elisamama. And did I say that correctly? Elisamama?
Yeah, perfect. You
Okay.
got it right.
Um, I always use a Spanish flair to everything, and I have to realize like not everything is Spanish. What's the inspiration behind the brand starting Listen Mom, and also how did you come up with that name?
All right. So the name was inspired by my daughter Elisa, and the brand was named after Elisa because the idea to start Elisamama really came after I had her. So I'm a mom of three. I have two boys and I have my daughter Elisa. And right around when I had Elisa, I was kind of going through my own personal, I guess, not a midlife crisis, but more just like an awakening, and for myself as a person and my purpose in life. And about that time, I had taken a trip to Nigeria to visit my family. And when I was out there, I had a chance to connect with women artisans who were hustling and doing their thing and trying to build a life for their family. And from those experiences, I got a chance to really connect with them and see their heart and their passion for what they're doing. But at the same time, I know many of them were struggling really, on the economic side of things. And so it was in my heart to figure out something that I could do on my own to, just to support them in a way that was
Yeah.
sustainable, in a way that was not handing out, but in a way that could also, give them their own dignity and also give them a chance to put their own talent to use. And about that time, of course, this is me post three children, kind of going through the motions of just, the body is not when it's not what it used to be. And, I was also interested in finding, garments that just did more than just looking good on the rack. I wanted things that look good, but also had a purpose behind it, and also had like just gave me more than just aesthetics. And so somewhere in that mix between connecting with the women in Nigeria, wanting to create or access garments that just did more than just the conventional. somewhere in that mix when the idea for of Elisamama came about. And here I was without any fashion or apparel background, but I had this fire in my belly to create a solution for these women that I felt so connected to. As mom, I mean, I was a mom dealing with all the things I was dealing with as a mom in America, and these are moms too out there in Nigeria who are also trying to support themselves and their families. And I was glad that Elisamama offered a perfect solution that supported the artisans, but also gave me a chance to create garments that could beautify and provide joy to women and kids out here in the US.
It's so beautiful. You know what I love about your story is also it, it's about being a social entrepreneur that's really connected to something that's soulfully who you are, and bridging all of your talents, all of your skills together to create this movement. And I think stories like yours inspire others to dive in a little bit more and say, what can I do? Either it's a new project or a new business, or perhaps something that they're currently doing. What can I do so it aligns completely with being of service to others, like where we can increase the collective energy of women around the globe. I love that because it inspires me to say, like, what more can I do? What are the areas in my life where I can help more women with the work that I do? So I love that. I'm sure you've inspired thousands and thousands of other entrepreneurs also, because, and I love that you share that you didn't have the experience because reading about you and looking at your designs, I would have thought you were like that prodigy child, 8 years old, sketching and designing beautiful couture gowns and dresses. That wasn't part of your background, right?
No, not at all. Not at all. My first, I mean, even me from a personal point of view, I'm not really one to, my relationship with fashion is more from a utility perspective. Honestly, it's like,
Yeah.
okay, what's going to make me feel comfortable, what's going to serve me the most for these occasions I'm going to, or what can I, back when I was nursing, okay, what can I nurse in, what can I, I'm always anchored by the utility of the garment. That's my
Mhm.
biggest that's the biggest theme for me when it came to fashion. It was never really so much about the aesthetics and the art behind it. And in a way, I think the work at Elisa Mama is almost the same way, because it's serving a purpose to
Yeah.
provide jobs to my amazing team in Nigeria. And so it's still, I think, even though, yeah, it's a fashion brand, it's still very much rooted in utility. And even our designs, we're always very thoughtful about creating designs that will serve you. We don't want designs or garments that would then become a burden in your life. We want your clothes to complement who you are and what it is you're trying to accomplish for yourself. And so the utility is still a big
Beautiful.
part of the work that we do at Elisamama.
Beautiful. And I love also the designs that I saw. They're very flattering. So I love that you mentioned, our bodies do change.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna be 52 years old in a couple of weeks now, and
Oh,
definitely things are not where they used to be. And the dresses, though, I feel like they are timeless pieces. I feel like that you've done a great job with. You could be a 20-year-old wearing it, or you could be someone in your 70s, 80s, and 90s wearing it. It's going to be flattering, no matter what. So one thing that I like to talk about are challenges that you face, because I hear so many times women that are looking to start businesses, and then they hit one challenge and then they give up, or they want to give up, and they say, you know what? And they might look at someone like yourself, Fisayo, that has created great success, and they may believe that you did it without any challenges. You just woke up one day and just decided, I'm going to do this, and Saxa Family just called you, and it just kind of walked right in. And I know that's not the reality. I've never really met another woman entrepreneur who has not gone through some sort of challenge. So my question is based on wanting to inspire our listeners and those that are watching the video on some challenges that you may have had, or one challenge that you had, and how you face that, in the hopes that it inspires other women when they do hit that challenge, whether at the start or when they're up leveling their business, that they persevere, that they use you as a motivator to keep on going. So is there a challenge that you had, that you want to share? And also, like, how did you get through that moment?
is there a challenge? I mean, is there a challenge? I mean,
You're like, is there more than one?
no, no. This journey is wrought with countless challenges. I mean, one thing you
Yeah.
can be sure of is that you will have a challenge. I mean, every day presents a new challenge.
Yeah.
It's the nature, and really for me, the way I look at it is, when you, I mean, I embrace challenges because I just feel like it's an evidence that you're trying, right? It's an evidence
Mm,
that you're actually stretching yourself. And so one that comes to my mind, though, I remember when we first got the outreach from Saks back in 2020. This is fall 2020, and they wanted to bring us in. And at that time, we were still, we were still figuring it out. I mean, we're still figuring it out till today, to be quite honest. But we were very much figuring it out. And this was going to be our very first major wholesale partner. And there's a whole lot that comes with that beyond just the garments. The whole process of fulfilling a wholesale order is completely it's a science in itself. And so I didn't know what to do. Like I was scared out of my pants. I just I could not sleep. I really almost turned it down. I said, I don't think we can do this because we're not prepared. We've just, I mean, their singular order was going to, one order for one season was going to be greater than all we had produced the whole year at that point.
Wow.
And we had to produce all of that in one season. And so I thought, there's no way my team can do this. Like, we're not prepped for, serving this sort of, clientele. Like, I don't think we can do this. Oh, there they go.
There's the dog. Keep on going.
But you know what? One thing that I, from that experience taught me was just the power of taking one step at a time. And that's kind of what I do even now till today. Like, whenever we face any challenges, instead of sitting in the challenge, I rather sit in the seeking of a solution. Yeah. Right. And so, that's just, one of the many, but it's simply the same thing, knowing that challenges, like, I don't feel down on myself when we have issues, when we have challenges, because it's, like I said earlier, it's just a sign that we're working and we're stretching ourselves. And so what I simply just do is just, lean on my community, lean on my network, and I just keep taking the smallest step in the direction of where I want to go. And and now, so like Saks, while that was like an insurmountable challenge at that time, we've now gone from Saks to now several additional, large retailers and other boutiques who are now stock our stuff. And we had to go through that experience, and that experience has now made us stronger. And, we didn't have a playbook. No one came to us and said, this is what you're going to do. But what we had to do was take it one step at a time.
Yeah.
And not to
and there's a lesson in there with mindset, because I wrote it down. I love that you mentioned that when you have a challenge now, you embrace it, you welcome it, and you also recognize that it means that you are growing and you're stretching yourself and you're pulling yourself up to the next level. I love that, because that's definitely a mindset shift, because some people would consider a challenge the deterrent, right? Like, I got this challenge, forget it, I'm out. It's not, the universe has told me it's not meant to be, or, God has told me like, this is not the way to go, or whatever. I love that you're like, oh no, I love this challenge. It means that I'm doing good work and I'm moving forward and I'm growing and I'm up-leveling and I'm stretching myself. I love that perspective. I really think that what you shared will help so many. And of course, I had told Fisayo in the background in the green room, I said, the dog's going to start barking during the recording. And sure enough, so I muted myself while little Arthur started kind of like speaking. He wants to join the conversation. So let's talk a little bit about mentors. You mentioned your community. You mentioned that, that's important to have that support system around you. Did you have any specific mentors in this process of launching?
When I launched and when I experienced, or when I took, I think, the more critical or significant steps in the business, I didn't really have, any mentor or anyone in particular that, was able to guide me, to be quite honest. And I think a big part of it too is like the spaces that we are occupying at Elisamama, there are very few other brands or people who like look like me or in my community who are doing these type of things. And so, some of those really challenging moments were just along the way. But over time, though, through this journey of entrepreneurship, I've been able to build a community of women, other women who really are, we are in similar places in our entrepreneurial journey, who have become like, my sisters in this, in this path of figuring out all the things that come with entrepreneurship. And lots of them, met on Instagram, on social media. And, in some of them, we've now sort of formed like a bond where we connect every couple of weeks. We have like standing meetings where we just share battle tales and just encourage one another. And so they really have become not just like they're like my support system really now in the journey. So yeah, it's didn't quite have like the mentor in the formal sense of somebody who was maybe gone ahead of me, who was able to help me. It's more like horizontal mentorship in a way
Yeah.
with peers in in the entrepreneurial journey.
I love that. Yeah, for myself, also like with FemCity, when I started, I had no mentors. I got my first mentor. Joan Barnes, the founder of Gymboree, was my first mentor. I met
Mm,
her. I was a panelist on a actually was one of her book launch, and we met. We just connected, and she
yeah,
changed my life. She was someone who, even with just moments of her time, helped me with so many things. But it wasn't until I was 10 years in, probably. So and now, like you were saying, with other colleagues or people that are kind of doing the same work that you are or similar, now I reach out to other like women organizations and we share like, what's going on, what are you seeing on the ground, what are the challenges you're having, because we're generally going through the same things at different
absolutely,
times. So it's
absolutely.
important to have that community.
And it's true.
Um,
I want to add though, it's very
yeah,
easy. I feel like many times when we're going on a path, whether it's a career, a formal career of corporate job or a business, we always think like we're always seeking that mentorship. We're always thinking like I
yeah,
want someone who maybe is ahead of me to help me. But the truth
yeah,
about it is, there's so many people who are at your level that can be such great resource to you. And
yeah.
matter of fact, like when I got into Saks, I was actually the introduction was made by another fellow small business owner who happened to have a contact, and she dropped our name um, to the Saks contact, and then they reached out to us. And so there's so much
Wow.
value that comes with people that are at your level, and so we can't discount or diminish the value or the resources that other fellow business per people who are at your level might offer to you.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, and we learn from everyone, right? Like I find that even when I walk around the neighborhood with the dogs and I run into a neighbor, even though we're not doing the same work in this world, I always learn from people. Like sometimes they say things and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so like powerful. I mean, they may not even notice it, but I find that there's just inspiration, motivation, tips, advice,
Absolutely.
guidance from like
Hmm.
everyday people, like people that are not even in your tier one, but just if you're really open to opportunities, you see them everywhere, like the glimmers of possibilities. And yeah, I love that. All right. So, and my next question for you is, because we have so many femmes that start their business, and, um, things pivot along the way. They evolve along the way. And when we see someone as yourself who has such a big global brand, um, I think some people will say, well, she probably had that vision since the beginning, right? Like when she was 8 years old, she had this like grand vision. Did you have a really big vision at the start, or was it something that you kind of stepped into it and then it just kind of navigated and you're like, oh my gosh, this is getting bigger and this is getting bigger, and like, oh my gosh, now it's my brand is huge. Did you envision that growth at the beginning, or was it something that came along the way, like piece by piece?
Definitely did not envision the growth. I remember when I somewhere along the journey, someone had asked me, "Oh, do you foresee your brand at a retailer like Nordstrom?" And I thought, "Oh my God, no! Like that is not even on the vision board for Elisamama.
Yeah.
Like I with Elisamama, I'm just trying to sell a couple of dresses, and every few dresses we sell, that's more money for my artisans. So yay, we're winning." And so there was no grand vision for Elisamama, and which is why, like I said, when we got the Saks opportunity, it was so overwhelming and scary because that was anti everything we'd ever envisioned for ourselves.
Wow.
And so, but it came, and one thing for me, my biggest philosophy is just I try everything. So I take on everything as much as it might feel overwhelming and feel impossible. I just take that one step in front, put this one step in front of the other. And
Yeah.
by doing that, that's what's gotten us here. It was not by any like carefully crafted vision of where we were going to be. Not at all. It was just simply when opportunities come, do the best we can. And when we see any opening, we take it and we keep trying. Make mistakes, we learn from it. We keep trying. We keep. Matter of fact, we started as this might come up as a question later on, but in case it doesn't, like we were a kids brand when we first launched. You know, we were initially a kids brand, and that's what we did for the first period of our brand. And then over time, we saw opportunity in the women's space because the moms wanted to get in on their Lisa Mama fund, and that was also something new for us. And we just took it a step. Started with one silhouette, two silhouettes, three, and then now we have a whole we've become really
Wow.
a women's brand. So
Wow. I have chills with that. And I love that you shared that. And I don't even know. I have to look at my questions to see if that would have come up. But I love that you shared that because I feel that there are so many I mean, we have thousands of members in our community. And so I don't know all of them, but I know a lot of them. And I feel like they start the business and they kind of just stay and they just stay with what they would consider their lane, right? I'm only going to do this. And I love that. I'm a huge believer, like when you have 3 people ask you for something, that you need to go move forward in that direction. So 3 moms are asking, I would love this for my size. Could you make this dress for me? I love that you heard that. And then you pivoted, you evolved, you changed, and you created that. And then that's been a huge success for you. Because
Absolutely.
I sometimes see that people don't do that. You know, they're just in their lane, like, oh no, I don't do dresses. I only do children's clothing. Oh no. And so like 10, 20, 30, 100 people are asking, but they're like, no, I'm just going to stay here. I love that you listened to it, because I believe there's a really big business secret right there. When you listen to your people, they will tell you what they want from you.
Absolutely.
Create it for them, and it will thrive and it will be successful. So I love that, because again, sometimes people will see your brand from the outsider and just be like, oh, she was 8 years old sketching couture, right? And she knew how all this stuff, never made any mistakes, and she always envisioned this grand success, and it was already created. Which is obviously not the case. That there are all
Absolutely
these like
not.
little things. Oh, okay. I'm like, we're running out of time, and I want to make sure I ask all these questions. Well, we talked about. I was going to ask you about pivoting during your time with your business growth. I think you shared that right now. You know, those are big pivots. Anything you want to add to pivoting in business, like for your business growth, or you think?
No, I mean, I think for me, one thing I've definitely that's been a great resource for me is really learning about, listen to other founder stories. So I know in the beginning, that's one thing I always did was I'm a podcast junkie, and I would, and because it humanizes the experience. It's very easy to feel like, it's just, oh, this is always me and whatnot. But the reality is many of the success stories we see today have involved several pivots, several changes, several just redirection, and everybody has a story, and no one story is linear. It goes in all sorts of directions. And so for me, that, calms me down to know that I'm not unique in this. Like, even when I go through those challenges, it's expected. It's absolutely expected. And so, yeah, which is why when the opportunity to embrace women came to me, it's like, I felt good about that, moving in that direction. And if it didn't work, guess what? We'll learn from it, right? Now we know, okay, we know what not to do, because not every pivot will work, right? But when you go in there, now you will learn something. You won't leave the same way you came in. You will be smarter for it and be better for it. And I'm a big believer in failing fast. So
I failed really fast. Years ago, I decided to create a FemCity newspaper and feature only women, business owners in it. I just felt like it was time for us to just put ourselves in the newspaper. So we featured like all these business stories, and it flopped. Like we did 4 issues, and we even had a really good partnership with Miami Herald, and they went ahead and sent it out also. And it flopped. It was fail fast. Like, yeah, okay, got it. I hear you. I'm gonna do that again. So done. Yeah.
Now you know.
Now I know. I love also that you mentioned sharing your story and hearing stories from other women, because without us sharing the stories, the true stories, the ones that are like the vulnerable stories, you're right. We would not be where we are right now if we weren't sharing those stories about what we've gone through, or the challenges that we had, or who's helped me or who didn't help me, or who's to be careful about this person. Like those little tips. I love that. I think there's so much power when women share stories together. I have found that to be one of the biggest blessings in my life, is hearing other women share their stories, because it's helped me, and then I see myself in them too. Like, look at that, like an immigrant story, right? My parents arrived from Cuba, like what all those stories I heard growing up of like arriving to this country, not knowing the language, not knowing the culture, trying to figure out how to do it. And then all of a sudden they're millionaires. Those stories, I mean, I heard those over when not millionaires, not everyone's a millionaire, but those stories of like making ends meet, figuring out how to do it, getting, a business going, all those stories inspired me to start a business, because that's all I knew, because of the storytelling that we had in our community. Which leads me to like, what inspires you? Do you have a certain mantra? Do you have a certain thing that you go to when you are looking at up leveling or growing your brand? Is there some sort of saying that you go to?
what my saying, and I think it's really my 2024 saying, is just stay in motion.
Mm.
Staying in motion. It's just, even in you're taking the smallest step in the direction of where I want to head to. Because there's some moments where I'm just like drowning in all the things that, I need to do, and all that comes with running a business, right? And so for me, is staying in motion, and knowing that done is better than perfect. Done is
Yeah.
better than perfect. And so I'm really, because I, like I said, I will get sometimes almost like paralyzed by like all the things I have to do, and I don't even know where to move. So it's like, instead of focusing on that, I focus on finding solutions and focus on moving in the direction of my solutions. And
Yeah.
so, and that kind of, in a roundabout way, energizes me. Because once I start seeing small validation of like my small steps, then it's like, okay, now I have more energy to
Yeah.
take on the next thing. And so that's been my goal for this year. And in the recent times, is just staying in motion, not sitting still, not sitting in the problems, but in motion towards the direction of my solutions.
Ah,
And eventually it comes together.
I love that. I love it. And it also it helps you, I'm sure that you don't sit and saute yourself in like the woe is me or in the,
No,
oh, that didn't work out. Oh, like that sensation that we get as business owners. If you're moving in motion, if you're connected to your goals, if you're constantly saying, what more can I do? Which little area can I step into? You're thinking always proactively versus like allowing yourself to just kind of like have pity on yourself for things that may right.
absolutely. And it's very easy to do that. And then when I
Yeah.
apply that same mantra in my personal lives, like, what are the pain points? Like, what
Yeah.
are my pain points right now? What are the things that are stressing me out? And instead of like, oh God, I can't, this is stressing me out. No, what can I do? What is the smallest step I can take to help me, to relieve me of this pain point? And take that small step, and then the next small step. And and it can be as mundane as like needing a babysitter, because that happened to me recently, because I travel very often, and my little ones, my husband has to juggle all the things, and he was doing it, but I realized that while he's doing it, it's still stressing me out. I'm not completely at peace with kind of what's going on at home when I'm not there. And I
Yeah.
thought, you know what, we're gonna find a sitter. Let's do that. Who's gonna take him to activities, just be available to do all the things. And we found somebody, and I already felt like, okay, now I can put my mind on something else. That one, I could put a check on it. Moving on, next thing, so yeah.
Let me tell you, raising kids and growing a brand like you have done, I just want to sprinkle extra love on you because um, I can only imagine the challenges, and I love that you do it with grace, you do it with love. It seems like you do it with like um, just I guess everything that you do is so purposeful with the connection to social impact, making the world a better place, and also you're showing your kids, all these other
Mhm.
lessons too. I can't even imagine how challenging it must have been to create. I mean, I have three. Mine are older, but I remember
Mm,
three kids, three different schools, three different age brackets. Trying to be all places, managing, and then also managing your partnership. With your husband, your spouse. And,
mhm.
I mean, it's just so many moving parts. That's a whole other podcast. That's like a whole other topic. Um, yeah, but anyway, I commend you for doing all of that with such love and grace. I just love that. Um,
Okay.
what's your next vision? What's next for Elisamama?
Elisamama. So, what's next? So the last, couple of years has really been around growing our wholesale business, and really, having a strong footprint in that space. But now our goal is to kind of bring it back home. So we want to now start really focusing on our D2C, really just trying to connect back with our communities, and partnering with other wonderful women who we admire. We have several collaborations coming up this year and some next year, and so just really excited about that. And what else do we have going on, and also be more like having more brand presence in
Yeah.
physical presence with our communities. And so, we have several fun brand activations planned this year, just a chance to just really connect with the women who love and support us. And wherever women can get together around food, drinks, and good conversation and beautiful dresses, it's always a great time. And
Absolutely.
and so we're about that. We're about our community of women, our community of mamas, and so creating opportunities to get together and just like love on one another, and just have a good time and chat and encourage and uplift one another. We love it. I love it personally, and so that's our goal. We're going to be having several continue to have several activation events with our mamas across the U.S.
I love that. I love that. Anything we can do to support you, let us know. I'm a huge fan of being in the space of other women. It fills my cup. It fills
Yes.
my cup when I get a chance to travel to other FemCity chapters, whether it's in Canada or the US. We now have partnerships like in India, and of course, our
Nah.
movement partners. It doesn't matter which one. It fills my cup. Even if I'm not in part of the conversation, just the murmur of women chatting makes me smile. Like I've recorded it on my voice memo because I just love it. It makes me so happy. Final advice that you have for our listeners or watchers on perhaps they're thinking about what's next for them. They want to do something that's connected to their soul, something that's going to be of social impact. Any advice that you have? Additional love.
Yeah, well, first of all, the fact that you're even having these thoughts, kudos to you. It's, just the fact that you're able to find space in your life. I'm sure everyone's busy to even think about what it is you can do. That is incredible, and that's something that should be honored. I would say though, there's different ways in which one can make an impact, and it does not have to be a business. It does not have to be, owning a fashion brand. There are different in our day-to-day life. We have an opportunity to make a difference. We have an opportunity to share love and to really make an impact. And so I think it starts with us. It starts with what's within our vicinity. And from that point on, if life or the universe creates an opportunity for you to do something, maybe bigger,
Yeah.
just put one foot in front of the other. Don't be intimidated. Everybody has a story. Everybody has failed. Everybody has made mistakes. And give yourself grace. As a woman, and then you add on the responsibility of being a mother and maybe having a career. There's a lot on our plate. So I think serve yourself, fill your cup, and when you want to take on that thing, just take that smallest step in the direction of where you want to head, and it will all work out.
I love that. Many years ago, a good friend of mine, Mary Jo, who's a writer, she writes for some of these like public, like Us Weekly magazine. And we were at the beach and she said, "What do you want for your kids, Violet? What do you want for your kids?" And I said to her, "I just want to make sure they change the world." And she was like, "Oh my gosh, that's so much. That's so much expectation." And I said, "No, it's literally like as we go through life, just be kind.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to do things grand all the time. It can just be like being nice to your neighbor or helping someone, on a train or whatever. Like just the
Mm-hmm.
little acts of kindness, you change the world. Imagine if all of us just did a little bit extra dose of kindness and love. I mean, that's how it kind of ripples. As I'm kind to somebody else, they feel that, and then they take it on. They are kind to somebody else. So it just kind of grows and grows. But then, we started laughing. I was like, it sounded a little bit more intense. I didn't mean it like that. I didn't mean like they had to discover the cure to cancer. Like it was like just be kind. And that's how we change the world. Just a little
Absolutely.
bit do. For those that are listening and watching, where can they learn more about you? What's the website or on Instagram? Like, what's a great way for them to stay connected to your journey?
So yes, you can find us on Instagram. We're very active on there. Elisamama Official. It's one word, Elisamama Official. That's where you can. I take trips to Nigeria very often, and our community they love because I always share content when I'm on my trips, on my sourcing trips. So it's a really fun place to be actually. So even if people love following Elisamama Official. So that would be the starting point. And then our website is elisamama.com. You can also find us on there. That's where you can see all our garments and our clothes. And then if you want to also shop from Elisamama, you can find us on Saks, obviously. Search for Elisamama. We're also on Shopbop. You can also find us on Tarkanak. And just put our name in Google and see all the places that we show up at.
I love it.
But,
I love it.
but yeah. Well,
I need to go to Nigeria. My daughter's roommate from NYU, Annie, she's from Nigeria, and her pictures, like every time she'd go, and she brought me back because she stays with us. She always has a house here whenever she's in Miami. She stays with us, and she gave me these beautiful earrings from Nigeria. Just everything about her travels and her stories there. And she goes to visit family, so I'm just dying to go. It's been on my list to do for so long that I have to go. So now watching you, I'm gonna be like, I'm going.
Make it happen. You gotta make it happen.
Absolutely. Yeah, we looked at starting a chapter there, FemCity chapter. We even did like a focus.
Oh,
Yeah, like 2 years
ago. Let's talk about it. Maybe that could be something.
Yes, I would love that. I would love that.
Mhm.
Fisayo, thank you so much for taking the time out of your very busy day. I am now one of your really biggest fans, and
Thank
I know our
you.
listeners will be totally in love with you as well. Thank you so much, and much success in all the rest of the your journey. That's going to be even more grand. Thank you so much.
Thank, thank you, Violet. Much appreciated. Thank you.